Good afternoon, and thank you for stepping into the Foul Playland. As always, I'm your Foul Player. Making this video regarding the rumors that the Mets are being purchased by. Damn, I look old with this haircut. My wife did my haircut today. Coronavirus. But that the Mets are being purchased by a group headed by Jennifer Lopez and her boyfriend or fiance. I don't know. Alex Rodriguez. And also, what this coronavirus may do as far as the Mets being sold to, in general, like to anybody. As many of you may know, I'm a big time Met fan. Actually, since I'm shirtless now, you can see my Mets tattoo. My Mets tattoos, Mr. Met, the little Met skyline. But I'm a big time Met fan. I mean, the one drawback of this coronavirus thing happening is the loss of games during the baseball season. I love baseball. I love the Mets, but the topic of this video regarding the sale of the Mets to J Lo and A Rod, and then I'll cover the general sale of the Mets and what this coronavirus or COVID-19 virus, how it could affect it as far as moving towards the sale. But regarding the J Lo and A Rod thing, I'm not too enthused about that. I mean, like, I don't like the fact that A Rod is more known as a Yankee in this town as far as in New York. And that's not it. I mean, that's more of a superficial thing. Reportedly he was a Met fan growing up. He's come out and said that his team that he rooted for initially was the Mets. But and then J Lo, J Lo's from the Bronx. I'm pretty sure she's not a Met fan. Um, but again, those are superficial things. My thing is we saw it with the Dodgers, like when they had to sell their team, how messy that got. The MLB ended up ultimately getting involved because it was a divorce thing. Or the owner at that time was getting divorced, and they had to force a sale pretty much, so that things don't get muddled. With two celebrities, like they've been romantically involved with so many people. These relationships tend not to last, so I don't feel confident in a group spearheaded by two celebrities that are in the public light so often, purchasing this team. Because what happens if they break up? Would they be on the same accord as far as like what to spend on the team and decisions that ultimately need to be made with the Mets? As much as I hate the Wilpons, and I do hate the Wilpons, particularly the younger Wilpon, Jeff Wilpon. I'd rather wait on a better prospective buyer. But and that's my say with just the J Lo A Rod connection. But as far as with this COVID-19 thing, I think that this is gonna spur. And this is me personally. It's not information that I know, or but I think this is gonna spur a sale of the Mets sooner than later. Not sooner than we expected, maybe, because right now we're all like in the clouds as far as like when this team will be sold and whatnot. But if the Wilpons planned on holding out, because right now I think they thought that the team is competing, and maybe they wanted to stick around longer than we wanted them to. I think the fact that this COVID-19 thing has taken effect has kind of put the kibosh on those plans a little bit, because if they're going through financial dire straits, I think that the the brick and mortar aspects of this team, as far as concessions go, money from parking, money from ticket sales. The Wilpons, are rumored to be suffering fiscally or financially. Maybe they were relying on that money, or anticipated getting a lot of that money, being that the team was ahead of schedule as far as competing. Um, the um, the emergence of Pete Alonso. These are things that they weren't expecting. The just one summer ago, and as we all know, Pete Alonso broke the rookie home run record. He's a humongous draw. Jeff McNeil is a was an MVP contention for parts of the season. The team is a lot better than like what we may have anticipated, but they probably expected to get a lot of ticket revenue and that same brick and mortar revenue that I mentioned, as far as like food and concessions and whatnot. They were probably expecting or even relying on that, and now they don't have that. That may be a reason as to why they want to sell the team, or maybe something that may push them in the direction of selling the team sooner than later. Ultimately, personally, I mean, like, and it's not like I know the guy, I know how he moves and whatnot on a personal level, but I still want the Steve Cohen to purchase his team. I mean, as we all know, I think he owns a 8% or 12% share of the team. Um, and he attempted to purchase the team a couple months ago, and it failed because Jeff Wilpon wanted to continue to be employed by the team for years to come for five at a salary of $5 million a year, in addition to the Wilpons cashing Steve Cohen's check, not Steve Cohen, or Cohen's check, and reaping all the rewards, still being at the helm for 5 years, and you know, ultimately he backed out, and there was also the fact that they didn't want to include the SNY in the deal, um, and that's going to be restrictive for the Mets to be broadcast on SNY, and for the team not to own, or whoever owns SNY in the future, not to be able to get a money off that. I think some people estimated on average that a team that doesn't own their own network or doesn't own anything attributed to their TV rights are at a deficit of 50 million um, in today's MLB. So any prospective buyer wouldn't be signing up for that. I mean, even somebody who supposedly is willing to spend like Cohen does isn't gonna buy something to lose 50 million at best a year, or on average every year. Um, but the Wilpons are snakes. They're low level. They operate in a very gimme now fashion. So maybe the fact that they're not making any money now in these first couple months of what was supposed to be the starting point of the MLB season, maybe that helps them sell the team. But I just don't hope that they don't just sell to anybody. I would be a lot happier if they were to sell to somebody who a fan of the team, like Cohen, and somebody who's has deep pockets like Cohen does, and who's from the area like he is, like from Long Island. Um, if there's anything I want more in the world, like sports wise, it's the Mets to be successful, and I think the fastest route to doing such is by getting rid of the Wilpons. I don't want the real ponds any part of it, like, to have any part of the Mets moving forward. I can't stand the Will. I hate the Wilpons. Fred Wilpon was supposed like has some sort of association with Bay Ridge, and I grew up in Sunset Park, which is right next to Bay Ridge. I could give two craps. I can't stand the Wilpons. I can't stand the Sterling Equities. Anything involved with Wilpon, it's not for me. But the faster we sell this team, the better. Go Mets as always. And thank you guys for checking with me. As always, I'm your foul player. And thank you for stepping into the foul play land with me. Peace.